Hi, this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Welcome. Well, over the last week or two, we've had some letters from people who are suffering a loss or suffering a great challenge, and it's all to do with health, and it's all to do with cancer, actually. Well, cancer is a pretty common thing, actually. It's much more common than you might think, and so many people have suffered a loss through cancer, and they are firmly entrenched in the idea, and this is only my opinion, it's only anecdotal. They're firmly entrenched in the idea that chemo extends the life, that the normal way of treating cancer is to do it with chemotherapy, burning, cutting, and if I know it's easy to say it when you're not suffering from it, but if I was suffering from it, I wouldn't let them cut and burn me, because so much has been found and rejected by the pharmaceuticals because it contains cures. Now, the pharmaceutical industry are not in it for curing people, they're in it for treating people. Why is that? Because there's more profit and they are a business. And that's my view of it. Now, I was going to give you some references that you could pick up on yourself and investigate. But the book that I find is very, very educational because it deals with so much. And that is a book called The Source Field Investigations. And there it is, like that. It's the Source Field Investigations, and the subtitle, The Hidden Science and Lost Civilizations Behind the 2012 Prophecies. It's by a man called David Wilcox, who has spent most of his life trying to find what would be the actual source field for everything. One unified theory, which Newton and Einstein were never able to come to any real agreement, according to what I've read. So why am I bringing this up? Well, because there is scientific proof, there is scientific evidence that has been coming along for a long, long time. One man, I'm looking at some notes that I made here, and Dr. Glenn Ryan is a biochemist that graduated out of London University. Now, he discovered that thought changes DNA, and he discovered something else, talking about a measure of light, the photons of light, which are contained within the body. This is an incredible subject, an incredible area of research. Well, they've made incredible discoveries on the quality of light. And when did they do that? Well, it wasn't yesterday, and it wasn't last year, and it's not just come up on the scientific bulletins that are reporting on the most recent discoveries. 1975. 1975, the phantom leaf effect. And what was discovered was that bodies, everything, living thing, is emitting light. And not only are they emitting light, but this light is picked up by other organisms. So in other words, light that you are giving off is being picked up by other people's light, by animals, by everything. And what they found, the phantom leaf effect, was that they put a leaf onto what they called a Kirlian photographic plate. Now, I haven't researched about Kirlian, but evidently his photography was able to actually photograph the image of the aura. Everybody knows, or whether they believe it or not, that you have an aura. It's that electromagnetic field that surrounds you, and almost like a light. Well, it is light. And what he found was that even if you put a leaf onto this plate, So imagine that the plate is as big as this. You put the leaf on the plate like that, and then you remove some of the top, say the top of the leaf. You cut the top of the leaf off. Now prior to cutting off the top of the leaf, you'll find that you can see with the Kirlian photography, you can actually see the aura, that fuzzy sort of area of light that surrounds the leaf, and you can see it on the plate. And then when you remove the tip and take the tip away, guess what? For 15 seconds or so, the light is uninterrupted. The aura still remains true to the original shape of the leaf. Now, why does this make any difference to us in our search for cancer? Well, there is a level of vibration, and I'm not a scientist, okay, so if I stumble over certain ways of describing things, that's because I'm just me. But there is a level which is called 380 nanometers, and this is a measure of light which is particularly crucial to our health. And what other people found, what other scientists found, let me see. I'll give you the names and you can look them up yourself. There's Dr. Glenn Ryan, right? There's Fritz Albert Popp, and he was very important because he found that DNA stores light, that bodies store light and give off light, and all kinds of other interesting things that came from that. And then there's Dr. Lou Childra, who was able to wind and unwind a sample of DNA from many kilometers away. So in another house, kilometers away, and he was able to affect this unwinding. As you may or might not know, that the DNA goes around in this winding thing, and it comes and it spirals, and as it unwinds, health deteriorates, and as it tightens up, it can heal. So this is all very important. How did I start to even think about all of this? When I once had an injured leg, I actually put both of my legs together. Let's say that these are my legs. Put my legs together, and I imagined the healthy leg being superimposed on the unhealthy leg, and I effected, I think, a cure that was faster than it normally would have been. It can obviously be denied because it's just anecdotal. It's just something that I discovered myself. And mostly when people are discovering things, if it goes against what is the norm, what is scientifically accepted, it will be ridiculed, it will be rejected. Now, why do I say that? Well, that's been my experience. And my experience has been that the biggest block, the biggest, what can we say, the biggest resistance to new information is present time education. What people are used to thinking of being the norm. And if it goes against that, then it's discounted. Also, and I hate to say that this comes in, it's very sad that it does come in, but if it goes against the great God profit, it will be rejected. Because if a company is just not going to, if you believe that the integrity of these various big corporations is so great that they would give up profit in order to give a cure where they can do billion-dollar treatments, you have a greater faith in big business than I do. What I have seen is that they would rather focus on what they need to be proved rather than something else that comes up as a accidental thing. Now, in all of these people that I've been researching in the source field, researching secondhand, of course, I'm reading something that someone else has done and taking on what I can and using what I can. But what has obviously come about is that the big companies will discount any information if it gets in the way of their profit. And this is not just about venting against big business. It's not about that. It's about the fact that incredible cures, incredible results were being found as far back as 1975. Now we're talking, what is it, 40 or so, it's so many years ago that we could have been doing so much more to help people who are suffering from these terrible terminal diseases. And it's just come up now where two people that we've known who are subscribers who have suffered the loss or are suffering the challenge, and all of this information is there, and yet it's not being released. One of the scientists in the book that I'm reading now, or have been reading for a long time actually, I keep going back to it, and that is the source field investigations. One of the scientists, as soon as he started to find these strange and unusual things happening, and he released the results of those, such was his credibility in the eyes of traditional science that he was fired from his job, and his findings were labelled pseudoscience. Now, one of the things that they found as far as photons, I mentioned photons of light, and this is what can be measured as light coming from living organisms. And one of the things that they found was that the light is there in an impression of you as a person. And one of the examples that were given in this book was that the person measured for light with this special photography, sitting in an armchair and sitting there for a given amount of time, and then getting up from the armchair, and the impression, his impression, is still there and continued to be there. An impression of the person in the chair continued to be there for, I think, about an hour. It's a while since I read this book now. I just fished it out so that I could talk about the science and how so much more has been discovered by unorthodox science than will ever be released willingly by the big pharmaceuticals. It just won't happen. In fact, they will discredit people. I believe they will discredit people who are finding out things which are just going to get in the way of the great God prophet. Pray all you want. That's what's happening. And if you think about the TV-a-thons, TV telethons, where they've raised millions and millions and millions, probably billions of dollars for the research for a cure for for cancer. And what have they come up with? Well, they've come up mainly with what has already been done. They cut the tumour out, and then they kill the rest of the surrounding area with chemo, which also kills a lot of the living, the things that shouldn't be killed, like the immune system. And that's what they're still doing, and they're still mainly doing that, and it reduces the victim, I think of a victim, it reduces the patient to a living shell of what he used to be. And that's why many people refuse chemo, because they see what it does to someone. And that's why you have things like hospices, where they will help people who refuse to have this kind of devastating treatment, and they'll die with dignity. And a lot of the time there's no need for them to die with dignity. They could be living with dignity and living with hope and happiness. Now, I haven't been able to get in, and I'm not going to be able for the next 5 weeks to be able to go in and research some of this online for myself and to then release to you. But by the way, eventually I will remember what the scientist was that found that you could actually cure cancer by eating natural foods. all of the processed food that we eat has within it a killer item. It has a killer percentage. Everything that you eat, if it's, just imagine, look, it doesn't take any working out, does it, that if you have lifted something from the shelf in the supermarket, which is a processed food, and you're going to take it home, and you will look on the sell-by date, and you'll see that it's, say, 1 year hence. Now, what do they, ask yourself, what do they have to do to a food to make it so that it will not follow the normal, natural, degrading system? Why does it not follow the way that everything should follow? That it should last for a certain amount of time, and then it degrades, and then it's taken over by another organism, and then even flies have a place in the way that we live. Look at ants, look at maggots, look at all of these things which come in at a different level of the food chain, and they are a natural thing. Mother Nature has it all worked out, and we're in there messing it up. Now, why do McDonald's fries look the same 3 months later? Now, this one I can vouch for. I was very curious about this. I read this somewhere. It said, take a McDonald's fries and don't put it in a refrigerator, just keep it in the bag, and you'll find that in another 3 months or 4 months' time, you can take that bag out, open it up, and it will look exactly the same as if you could just eat them. And quite possibly you could. You could stick them in a microwave, heat them up, and probably eat them, and they wouldn't actually taste a great deal of difference. Now, what do they have to do in order to make that possible? Is it something that is beneficial to us? I very much doubt that that's the case. So, let's get to the point, my long-winded rant, which is not a rant. I'm really trying to point out to people who, and we have our 2 people that we're currently praying for, that are in a position of great challenge about their health, Marisol, and we've been praying for Marisol. Well, if she doesn't know that there are people who are living beyond cancer, beyond those times when they were told that they would die, beyond times when the medical profession has given up on them. Well, if they don't know about those things, if they don't know that simplifying their lifestyle is the way to go, it's great to be able to pull something off the shelf that you forgot was there and open it up, add a bit of water, and it tastes just as good as it would have done a year ago. Yes, it's great, but there is a price to pay. Just in the same way that all of the drugs that we take, there is a price to pay. I remember when they used to give out aspirin, and they found that aspirin, one of the side effects was that it made your stomach bleed. So what did they do? They got milk of magnesia, and they would add that, and then the milk of magnesia. So one thing was doing harm, the other thing was trying to bring about some kind of a cure or relief. So we need to be able to look at things for ourselves, and as soon as you realize that the pharmaceutical medical industry own the word cure, and that put yourself in that position where you may have discovered, hey, something actually worked that people are dying from. I need to get the word out about this. Well, sorry, pal, but you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to suggest that you could cure somebody. First of all, you have to make the disclaimer that this is not meant to be a cure. This is only a food additive. And if you are really, and then you have to make a recommendation for the medical profession, because you have to say, before you do anything, my God, before you lift the toilet roll and wipe your bum, you're supposed to get the okay from a qualified, licensed medical practitioner. In Filipino television, and I'll end off on this because it seems to me so ridiculous, in Philippine television advertising, it has the photograph of a lovely woman who is obviously breastfeeding a child, and it says, before using any milk supplements, contact a qualified medical practitioner. That seems to be handing everything over. Well, the message is surely that we need to look at other ways of curing ourselves, and we don't even know, because of before records, we don't even know how long cancer has been killing people. There's lots and lots of things that are present today which were never present before, and that was before they had modern science and the modern pharmaceutical industry. So that's my my little chat. You call it event if you like. I am saddened that people are in such an incredible state of challenge about their health, and that here I am, I'm 78, and that's regarded as being, wow, that's a great age. No, it's not a great age. We should have been living to 78 without even thinking about it damn years ago, and we should be living like that now. We shouldn't be thinking that someone who is 80 years old is 1 foot in the grave. If we didn't have all of this damaging food that we do have, and I'm as guilty as the next for going to McDonald's, we can survive a lot of stuff that we are eating right now. But it's when we accept that everything that we've been told is true, because it obviously isn't. We are obviously lied to such a degree as you wouldn't actually realize. So, this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for looking in. Bye for now.